This is a video I certainly wish I had when I was a younger teacher, because y'all know that you get those moments where a student finishes early. A bunch of kids are done before everyone else, and maybe it's during a test, maybe it's during just regular classwork, but you need those students to be quiet so that everyone else can do as well as possible. So the question then becomes, what do you do with those kids when they finish early? Today I want to talk to you about five or six things that I think you could give students to do to give them a brain break that's going to give you the time and the other students in class the time to finish their activity. Let's go. There's a lot of research to support the idea that students have too much back to back, right? There's no time to think, to decompress, to recalibrate. And when I think about my own students, when I was teaching in West Philly, it was students started school at 8 in the morning, and then most of the years I was there, we were there till 5 p.m. We do not have gym. There's only 20 minutes for lunch every day. And so every single class was expected to teach from bell to bell with 3-minute sort of intermissions to get from class to class. And so in a lot of the research that I've done, it does support this idea that creating brain breaks for students is crucial, right? And a lot of countries and a lot of schools do this, but how can we support this in our own classrooms is kind of where I'm going with this today. So it's not just about giving kids dumb stuff to do or not anything like productive or more learning. It's realizing that when we give kids the break, it actually takes the learning time to a next level. It allows students to do even better when we are giving them those breaks. However, for many of you, like me, giving kids a break and letting them just chill is it's not what we're talking about here. It's not like plus kids can't really handle themselves all the time, let's be honest. So these are things I am giving students to do that I know are going to get them to as close to sort of a break and a release without going on their phone, without being on a computer, without doing something that's going to give them that dopamine hit that's not giving their brain a break. And the first one I want to talk about is coloring. This I have used in my classroom in high school for years, and it still works. So for those of you that are teaching, some of those upper elementary into middle school and high school, and you think your students aren't going to like coloring, they always go back to it. It's like this childlike activity that they loved. Now, a couple of things that are going to set your coloring apart are, one, when I'm paying attention to what students like, I will keep a catalog of a number of coloring pages that I just look for on the internet, just type in free coloring page or something like that. So if students like something like Gravity Falls or Marvel, or if I hear them talk about their favorite TV show and that was like Backyardigans or something like that, I will print some of those pages out, bring them in, and then I have something that shows students that I care, that I'm listening. It's something that they like. And then I find that giving them, if you have the money and the resources, colored pencils and or crayons that don't look like they came from the bottom of someone's junk drawer, right? You don't want them gnawed off and stuff. Giving kids stuff that is usable, that has the color on it, it just helps. And it's not a necessity, but it definitely helps. The second thing is a little weirder. And I have seen this work like an unbelievable charm. And that is to draw on your desk. So someone is ready to click off because they're like, Reynolds, what are you even talking about? Kids drawing on desks. That's vandalizing. Vandalizing the classroom. You're not vandalizing the classroom, because what you do is you give them expo markers. Everyone has those expo markers they don't really use, right? No one uses lime green. No one uses yellow. No one uses yellow expo markers unless you teach in a classroom that has a black light. So give kids expo markers that I don't need, or that are dying anyway, or are not, they're dry erase, but they're not expo. And we all know that those are just wannabe expo markers. And I give them tasks. So maybe you're drawing something that you just read. Maybe I would have 2 kids that are best friends draw one another. And at the end of class, we're going to have a competition, right? Do not let anyone see what you're doing. And you have to be kind, but you're going to draw some of those things. Now, I've had kids not draw kind pictures, but that you live and learn, right?
He's gonna draw. I thought he was gonna draw me like this, so that's why I drew. That's why I drew.
You thought he was going to be rude because he's rude all the time?
Yeah.
All right, and so what did you end up doing, Cameron? You want to explain your drawing?
I drew a nice picture of him, but I guess I could redraw it like this. Yes. Like that.
That looks like Baymax now. Doing this is a way to sometimes like touch that material again and review it. Sometimes it's drawing a funny picture. Sometimes it's drawing, what would the cover of a book about your life look like? And you give kids these little prompts, you give them an expo marker, and they feel like they're getting away with something they're not supposed to be doing. It's fun and unexpected, and it's just it's an awesome idea. The third thing is, this one you gotta be, and I'm probably gonna spell it wrong because I don't know how they spell it. This one you gotta be a little more careful with, but with the right class it works. Having Play-Doh is another one of those things that's similar to coloring that many of your students may have grown up with, but they forgot about. They haven't done it in a while. The smell of opening brand new Play-Doh right away is something that is intoxicating and will hit them right in the nostalgia. So they will get taken back. And then again, you can have kids do stuff like create, like, what was it? Make a figurine of the character, make a scene of what was happening, make a symbol from your book that you were reading. But it might also just be fun to let them make stuff. Now, I will say, this is going to be real talk. So if your kids are with you, you might want to pause it for a second, because this is some real talk with Reynolds. We all know, if you are at least in middle school or high school teachers, you give kids Play-Doh, there's a really good chance penises are getting made with that thing. All right. But it's one of those live and learn things. Don't make a big deal out of it. Tell them that's inappropriate. Tell them to make something else, or give them some direction, because without direction, sometimes it leads to madness. But you can now continue watching with your children. Fourth thing I do is, and this is one of the, so it's read, but it's not just reading. I'm not interested in just having my kids like, and I want to talk about this in a second, which is with regards to like things not to do. But I have a number of books, articles, even magazines, right? Remember those? That I allow students to read when they are finished. Sometimes those are more expensive books. So for instance, I'll have a number of graphic novels, I'll have comic books. So if I know what students like, those are things that are not accessible on independent reading days or something like that. They are just books that are simpler and more interesting. So a lot of my students love manga. I'm sure a lot of your students, I like to call it manga because it drives them nuts, but that's a whole nother story. These are not cheap, right? They are expensive books, or that Kobe Bryant put out, right? There's not a lot of reading in it. It's sort of simple. There's a lot of great photos in it, but it does get kids reading about something they like. It's like a $50 book that I don't let anyone take home, but there's a certain section in my room where if you are finished your work early and you've done it correctly and completely, then I will give you this, you can pull books from there, and that is something it's like a treat that kids get to do. That's something they've seen for a while. They've wanted to read that Kobe Bryant book, but now they get to do it. The fifth thing is, I think this is underutilized by teachers at large in classrooms that I visit, but it's allowing students to help you with stuff. Teachers have too much to do in a given day. There is too much stuff and not enough time. And so how do we get by this? I have a whole nother video about this that if I can find it, I'll link it in the description below. But with over, I don't know, we have like 650 videos now. It's hard to remember all the stuff is sometimes. So, but the point I'm getting to is when you're trying to delegate things. So maybe you feel comfortable with students grading other students' work from another class, right? Maybe that's just matching, or it's true or false, or it's something that a student can look at an answer key and grade something else. Done with the right students, done with students that are trusted, or even students that are in different grades, this works great. Having students organize those papers. So in another video I have about your seating chart, I talk about how I organize. I'll link it in the description below so you can watch the whole thing if you wish. But it is the way I organize papers is done by where students sit, and I do that incredibly quickly so I can hand papers out and collect them back as fast as possible. So I can have students organize those papers. I can have students run errands. So like if I had to return a book to another teacher or drop something off at the office or run something to the cafeteria, I just have students do it. They love, love, love helping, to the point where you will give them jobs that no one should enjoy that much. And other kids will go, how come I never get the vacuum? Bro, what? And so it's just letting them help. The thing that I think a lot of teachers do wrong in this world of if you're finished early is making students do more work. At the end of a marathon, if you come in first, they don't go, great job, but everyone else is still running. We're going to need you to go a little bit further. It doesn't benefit students. It doesn't make kids want to do work. It doesn't make kids want to get done first. They'd rather just drag on. And that's why you have kids talking. That's why you have kids not staying on task a lot of times, because there's no benefit to getting done early. So giving kids just more work to do. Oh, you finished those math problems? Here's more to do since you finished early. Giving them something that incentivizes getting done early, that incentivizes being quiet, that incentivizes and gives you something fun to look forward to is sometimes just what kids need to be able to move forward and be quiet for their classmates. Now, listen, if you know someone in your school that needs this video, that is, you've seen them, you know they're done early, please consider sending this along, and please hit the like and subscribe button. It helps us get our video to more people so that more teachers can get help, so that more students can live the lives that they dream of living. All those other videos are linked below. We'll see you next week, gang. Peace.